Confidence Show, a podcast for female entrepreneurs with big dreams who want to create deep-rooted self-confidence and run their business on their own terms. I'm your host, confidence coach Rebecca Hawkes, and I believe you have what it takes to create the success you dream of. What's up, guys? It is the Confidence Show, and you're back with me, Rebecca Hawkes. Hello. I feel like I should think of hello. Like, am I supposed to think of a welcome for every episode? You know how some people are like, hey, hello, what's up, or whatever. Oh my god, what are you talking about, Beck? You know how some people have like this signature intro. I don't have that. I just waffle. As maybe that is my intro. Maybe my intro is waffling. I'm not really sure. So I'm on to episode 3 of the Confidence Show. Now, I batch everything, to be honest, because I learned from one of my mastermind coaches, Dara Paddy, who I will actually drop in the show notes. I will drop a link to her website in the show notes. I learned from her about batching. So rather than I use the word scripting lightly. So rather than scripting an episode, so I don't script as in write out everything that I'm going to say, but I give myself bullet points that I don't miss anything, because as we know, I go off on a tangent. But so rather than scripting an episode, recording an episode, editing that episode, and then having it all ready, instead what I actually do is batch everything now. So I batch script, I batch record, I batch edit. So I'm on to recording the 3rd episode of the series. So the 3rd episode I've ever recorded, which is wonderful. But I didn't realise how long, I didn't factor in how long it was going to take. And obviously I knew each episode was going to be between 20 and 30 minutes. But then you have to account for the fact that you mess up, you pause for a drink, whatever. That's fine. But I also, as well, didn't realise how much my voice would go. Maybe I just don't talk that much, because already my throat is getting sore. I'm on my 3rd glass of water. I'm like, how am I supposed to do 3 more of these today? But that's fine. So yes, I will leave the link to Dara's. I'm actually part of her membership program, the Content Arsenal. So I will leave a link to that, because it is incredible. If content is something that you struggle with in terms of being consistent, coming up with ideas, actually creating stuff, it's amazing. And it's also really, really simple. So it's a lot of creating one amazing piece and then repurposing. It's just a game changer. So yeah, I'll leave the link to that. Now, I'm pretty excited about today's episode, because this is one of my favourite things to do and one of the best things for my clients. So it's all about creating your big vision. Now, one of the services that I offer, this is something that I introduced last year, and I love it. It's a 2-day workshop where we spend 2 days creating your big vision. So we get really clear on what we want, what you want. It's using that 4 framework, the 4 principles of success, the 4-step framework that I shared in episode 1. And it's a wonderful thing to do, because it helps you understand what you're working towards. So you have those days where you wake up and you're like, either A, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm not going to do anything, or B, oh, I really just can't be bothered with today, I'd rather just sit and watch Netflix. If you refer back to this big vision that you've created, that whole, oh, I don't really feel like doing anything, will go, because you'll have your big vision in your mind, and you'll be like, do you know what? This vision excites me so much. I don't care about Netflix, because I am too passionate about what I want to create for myself. So that's why I think we talked about this in the first episode, maybe, did we? Touched on why it's so important to have this big vision. So I've said it before, and I will say it again. When you know what you want, you can make it happen. But then finding clarity can sometimes be hard. And as I mentioned before, because we don't know what we want, or we can't work out what we want, we procrastinate, we faff around, we choose Netflix over action. And then that all leads to feelings of guilt. And that stops us moving forward, because instead we just criticise, we blame, we feel guilty about things, and none of those emotions are helpful, are they? None of that is going to help you move forward. So today we're going to create your big vision. Now, when you have a vision in mind, you are more likely to feel motivated, to be productive, and to feel confident about what you're doing, because you'll know you're doing it for a purpose. Now, before we dive in, I want you to know that you can dream about whatever you want. Now, sometimes when our dreams are different to the people around us, we can feel like they're wrong, or we can be made to feel like we're living in a fantasy land, like the vision that we have is impossible. So has anyone ever told you to be realistic, or that you can't have the life you picture in your mind? A couple of years ago, before I moved into coaching, when I was a social media manager, I got to this point where I was like, this is not enough for me. This isn't the vision that I have for my life. I am not enjoying this in the way that I thought I would. And I really wanted to get into coaching. And I'd wanted to do coaching since I was a teenager. So you remember, I'm talking like dial-up internet time, when to look at anything, any courses, you had to order a program, and a program would get delivered to you by post. I remember ordering a program for like coaching back then. I think it was probably like life coaching. And I remember thinking then, like, that's what I really want to do. So for years I had this desire. And when I'd taken the leap to start my social media management business, I knew that I could start a business. I knew that I could run a successful business. And I just had this feeling of, I have to do this now. Because until I attempt to be a successful coach, I'm never going to be happy. So even if I'd stepped out of social media and done something else, there would still be that yearning of, but coaching is what I need to be doing. So I hit that point, and I was with my boyfriend at the time, and I remember saying to him, like, this just isn't enough. Like, I really want to get into coaching. And he kind of looked at me and he was just like, you can't be a life coach at 27. You can't. There was like a lot of tension, because obviously I was like, well, if somebody tells me that I can't do something, that's a sure sign I'm going to do it, because I'm one of those people who doesn't like being told that she can't do something, or she can't achieve something, or being told no. Like, as a kid, if somebody told me no, I would go and do it because I'd been told no. Like, my mum always says, like, when I was if they needed me to put my shoes on, if I was going home or if I was going out and they needed me to put my shoes on, they would say to me, don't you dare put those shoes on. And then I would put it on because I would be told no. So I would do the complete opposite of what I was told. So when he said that, I was just like, okay, well, that's a tough one, because obviously this is my dream, this is my vision, it's what I want. And being told by someone that you are obviously really close to that you can't do that, it's very hard. So not everyone is going to understand that vision, and it's okay. Like, it's okay for other people to not understand it. It's okay for other people not to support you. You just have to have that belief in yourself, and you have to have that desire. So if somebody's told you that you are not being realistic, or that you can't have that life that you picture, don't worry about it. Just ignore them. Just be like, okay, cool, that's your opinion. Don't need it. Thank you. And then on the other hand, we can sometimes be made to feel like our dreams are too small. So for some of us, our dream is to have a family, to settle down, and to spend more time with our kids. We don't need to make the 6 figures, to travel first class, to be fully booked with clients all the time. We don't need any of those like big goals that we see online. So has anyone ever told you that your dreams are too small, that surely you should want more from life? Again, this is really tricky when you say to yourself, like, I want to meet the man of my dreams, I want to settle down, I want to have a family. And some people will be like, why? Why is that all you want to do? But that's their opinion. You can have whatever dream you want. Now, for example, I want to share not a story, but tell you the difference between me and my brother. So my brother is 2 years younger than me. So he is, how old am I? He's 27, I'm 29. And he's 2 years younger than me. And he is the complete opposite to me. So since I first went travelling solo at 21, I have been all about travel and adventure. I started my business. I want to move around the world. I'm about making a lot of money with my business so that I can help more people. I have this vision of setting up a homeless rehabilitation centre in London and hopefully around the UK. All those things take a lot of money. I want to earn a lot of money. That's what I want to do. I want to achieve all these things. And I want to create, I suppose, some kind of empire. That's what I want. Like, the whole marriage and kids is something that I want further down the line, maybe. But my dream is all about business and travel and freedom and those kind of things, like exciting stuff. That to me is exciting. Whereas my brother, on the other hand, is the complete opposite to me. He's always been like, I want the job, I want a wife, I want a stay-at-home wife, I want children, I want a nice house, like 1 holiday a year, that kind of stuff. He has no interest in travel, he has no interest in, he does have his own business, well, I say as his own business, he's self-employed electrician, so he does really well for himself. But his vision of a perfect life is completely different to mine. His dreams are completely different to mine. And he is working towards those dreams. They've bought a house, he got engaged at Christmas, they're getting married next year, and then after that it'll be kids. And that's great. He's working towards what his dream is. I'm working towards what my dream is. And I wanted to tell you that because I think it's really important not to get caught up in what other people think of your dreams, because that can really hold you back. And you don't need to be held back. We have enough limiting beliefs and enough bullshit going on in our heads that holds us back without having other people's opinions. Okay, you can dream whatever you want to dream. You can have any dream that you desire, no matter how big or how small. There's no dream that is right or wrong. If you have dreamt it, if you have that desire for it, then you can make that happen. And you have to stay true to that dream. And that's why we have to create these big visions, so that we can get it all out on paper, so that we can look at it and say, okay, this is what I want. I can make this happen to me. How can I make it happen? So this is the very first step. So it's a lot more in-depth in terms of the clarity, but more in like a big overall vision that you're going to create. Okay, now we've got that out of the way, it is time to dive into the juicy stuff. So to help you with this exercise, I'd recommend downloading the free My Big Vision workbook that I created for you. Just go to rebeccalucyh.co/freebie or click the link in the show notes. You can pause the episode, you can go download it now, and then we can carry on working through this, or you can listen to the episode and then come back to that afterwards. Now, first of all, we need to break things up into sections to make the process easier. Because if you just look at your life as a whole and you just go, okay, well, I want to create this, it's a lot harder to set the small, manageable goals to take you there. So I like to split my big vision into 6 sections, but it's entirely up to you how you do it. Like other people do 8, 10, 4, whatever suits you. My workbook and the way that I do it is 6 sections. So these sections are business, finances, health and wellness, fun, so as in travel and activities, relationships, and then a social life. And I think what's really important is not focusing on all the sections at once. So you can create your big vision in one sitting, you can go through each of the 6 sections, you can write out your big vision, but then when it comes down to taking action, I think it's important to focus on one area at a time. So rather than trying to tick off all your goals for all 6 sections, for 90 days, just focus on one area. Because if you try to change too much in one go, it becomes really overwhelming, you won't stick to it, you'll get fed up, it'll become like a chore rather than something that you're enjoying. And we really want to enjoy this. You want to put it together and you want to be like, okay, cool, now I've got that vision, I'm going to make it happen. So in this episode, we're going to focus on business. So in order to get clarity around what you want, you need to ask yourself some questions. So a few questions that you can ask yourself. How do I want to spend my days? Who do I want to serve? What do I want to sell? How often will I be working? Okay, all these things, these little parts of your day. So how do I want to spend my days? Do you want to get up and start work straight away? Do you want to have a lie-in? Do you want to be an early riser? Do you just want to work between 10 and 3 if the kids are at work? Do you want to work weekends, 4 days a week? That kind of thing. Like, how do you want your days to look? Then who do you want to serve? Who's your audience? Who's your dream audience? Who is a dream client that you would work with and be like, oh my God, this is so much fun. Like, so good to the point that it doesn't feel like work. And then what do you want to sell? What service do you have that you can sell that you are head over heels in love with? And this is something that I actually did for myself last year, is I created the dream service. I created this service that was in my big vision and I made it happen. And it was incredible. It was my 2-day workshop in person with a month of accountability after that. And we had such an amazing time. And because I loved it so much, because it was part of my big vision, my clients benefited so much from it because I was all in with it. So next, how often will I be working? How often do you want to work? Do you want to work like 9 to 5 hours? Do you want to work 2 hours a day? You really need to get clear on that, because that is going to impact then how much money you're going to make, how much you're going to charge, how many clients you can work with, all this stuff. So when you've answered these questions, you can then set yourself 3 goals that will help you achieve what you want. So for example, if your goal is, I want to work with social media managers, what do I need to make that happen? So for example, oh my God, it's just started raining. I'm really hoping that it's not going to affect the audio on here. Oh gosh. podcast newbie. So if you have got your goal, let's have a look at that. So let's say you created a big vision and then your goal is, I want to work with social media managers. The next step would be to ask yourself, what do I need to make that happen? So this could be, I need to understand their needs so I can best support them. Okay, how do I do that? Then you carry out research on social media and record what you found so that you can target your services towards them. Okay, so you ask yourself these questions, and then that gives you a breakdown of what you can achieve, of what you need to do to achieve those goals. Next, you just repeat this process for each area of your life. And once you've broken down what it is you actually want, it's time to bring it all together. So you do this by writing out your perfect day. So you meditate, visualize, and then just write out whatever comes up. So you see how what you'll be left with before you do the perfect day bit, what you'll be left with is 6 areas where you've answered the journal prompt, so you've answered the questions to give you an overview of what you want to achieve. And then you'll be left with 18 goals that are broken down into manageable chunks, okay? So don't focus on trying to do all those 18 goals at once. As I said before, just pick one area. So you've got 3 goals. Those 3 goals, work on those each quarter, and then you can change a different area of your life, okay? But once you've got that, that's when you bring it all together in writing out your perfect day. So you write out your perfect day and you really think about it and tap into what your perfect day would look like. So things like, what would you wear? Where would you go? What time would you get up? What would you do for lunch? Who would you see? What clients would you work with? What would you have to eat? All these things. So you build up this perfect day. This perfect day is your big vision for your life and for your business. So I find it helpful sometimes to maybe meditate for a minute just to keep you really calm, just to clear your mind, and then just lay down and just visualize. So visualize your perfect day happening. So think about all the questions that you answered and bring them all together in this big vision. Okay, so for me, my perfect day is so clear in my mind, like crystal clear. And I think about it when I wake up in the morning. So I go through this exact day over and over in my head. And it's really just makes me feel inspired, because as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, I'm going to achieve this. And actually, I think it's important to mention that you have to be really super specific, because I actually manifested part of my perfect day a couple of years ago. So I had this vision for what I wanted my life to look like, and I visualised every day, and it actually came true. So I was visualising waking up in the morning in a home with wooden floors, a view out to the ocean, a balcony that kind of overlooked the ocean, and I actually had that. I lived that life for, I want to say a year. Was it a year? Close to a year. It was when I was living in Honduras, and I'd kind of first started looking into manifesting and these mindset tools and stuff. And visualizing your perfect day was a tool to help you attract into your life what you want. And every morning, I have this, it's so clear in my mind that this is what I want, and it happened. And that was wonderful. But the vision that I had in my head was slightly different to the one that manifested, because I wasn't clear enough. So I'd just been quite broad in terms of, I want to live in an apartment with a wooden floor that overlooks the ocean, and the balcony leads out to the ocean. And that happened. And I remember standing on the balcony when this happened. I remember standing there and drinking a cup of tea in the morning and being like, hang on a second. This is exactly what I visualised. This is exactly what I wanted for myself, and I've made it happen. But then I needed to get more specific, because my vision was somewhere where the floorboards were white and the room looked a certain way, and there was an ensuite, and the balcony was a certain design. So although I had manifested my perfect day, it wasn't as specific as I had it in my mind. So it's proof that this kind of stuff works in order to make it happen. So you have to have that vision in order to make it happen from a strategy perspective, so that you know what you need to do to make it happen. And then from the kind of woo spiritual mindset-y side of things like the law of attraction, having that vision helps you attract those things. And when you are on the same frequency as those desires that you have, that's when you start attracting them into your life. So visualizing this, bringing up those emotions, feeling into that life is what's going to make it happen. So yeah, I have my I don't even know. So I don't know whether you guys want to know my perfect day, but just to give you an example, I wake up with the sunrise. Like I wake up as the sun's rising in a beautiful big bed, possibly four-poster, wooden floors. There's an ensuite. There's French doors out onto a balcony, and the balcony overlooks the beach and the sea. I go outside and sit on the balcony, overlooking the ocean as I drink my first cup of tea. I eat my breakfast outside. It's really warm. I spend some time doing some journaling, maybe pull in some tarot cards if I feel like it, but doing some journaling, some mindset work, and then I get in touch with my team. So I will have a team and I get in touch with them, check in with some client work, and then I get ready and go to an exercise class with a friend. So we walk to a yoga class, and once we've done that, I come home, get changed, go for lunch in this is actually funny now I'm talking about it, but I go for lunch in this beautiful restaurant with white tablecloths, and it's a client lunch. So I meet up with multiple clients, so between 2 and 4. Normally 4, in my vision I normally picture 4, but I meet up with them in this restaurant and we have our session together, so it's like a working lunch kind of thing. It's a part of a mastermind. We have lunch, I pay the bill, and this is important, like these little details, like I pay the bill, how does my hair look, I go to the yoga class with my friend, we walk there. All these tiny little things are really important. And I say that it's funny that I'm talking about it now, because actually that part of my dream, I lived that in November. So I mentioned before about this 2-day workshop that I have. That workshop is what came out of my vision. So that is how I help my clients, and that's what came out of that vision. And I remember sitting there, we had afternoon tea together, myself and my 2 clients. We had afternoon tea together, which was broken up. We started the morning doing the clarity work, working through my success strategy workbook, and then we had afternoon tea. And we sat there and I was like, oh my God, this is my vision. There was white tablecloths. It was beautiful food. It was lovely. And then the end of the second day, when we were leaving, I got the bill. And that was something that was really important to me, because it was part of me being successful, was being able to pick up the tab, if you like. And obviously my clients had invested in me, but also part of that was to be able to pay these bills. So then in my big vision, at the end of the lunch, I either wander around the shops, normally wander around the shops for a little while, and then I go home, do a little bit more work, cook dinner, have a glass of wine, and then sit on the sofa with my partner, who my vision has changed slightly now that I'm on my own, but that vision's still the same, because I still envision that happening, but I try not to envision the same partner, because I think I need to be realistic in not trying to hold on to the past, and just accept that the person in the vision with me, or the people in the vision with me, may be different. So yeah, and then watch some TV and go to bed fairly early at like 10. But that's my vision, and I have it, like I can see it so clearly in my mind as if I'm watching a movie. And that's really important, is to have that real clear vision and to tap into it every single day. And as I've just said, like my vision's happened twice now, so it's not all connected into one at the moment, but parts of that vision have happened, and that's what's really important. And I think when you look at the deeper side of it, so the emotions and the feelings, and why my perfect day looks like that, is because it conjures up the feelings of pride, of feeling loved, of feeling happy and free, being positive, excited, feeling content and secure and motivated and determined. And those feelings are what's really important. Like, you don't live your perfect day for no reason. It's because you want to experience those feelings, and each of the things that happen in my perfect day are attributed to certain feelings that I want to feel. And if I can feel those feelings on a daily basis, then surely I'm living my dream. So although my perfect day might not always manifest it as a whole in one big go, parts of it are already doing it at the moment. And I've got no doubt that the whole thing will manifest as a whole at some point further down the line. But at the moment, I'm already starting to feel some of those emotions. And when, as I mentioned before, if you're vibrating on that same frequency as those feelings, that's what you're going to attract into you for the woo amongst us. So to recap, we broke our lives up into several areas so that we can get crystal clear on what we want from each part of our life. We asked ourselves questions to help us get that clarity, and then we started to brainstorm ideas for how we could make that happen. And then we brought it all together and created our perfect day. As I mentioned previously, it is so important to refer back to this perfect day every single day. Even if you take just 60 seconds to visualise before you get out of bed or when you go to bed at night, just picture it actually happening and feel the emotions that you would feel if it was real. Your homework for this week is to download the free My Big Vision workbook at rebeccalucyh.co/freebie and create your own big vision. I'll also leave the link in the show notes for you. Once you've done that, head over to Instagram and tell me in your stories what your perfect day looks like and how it makes you feel. Don't forget to tag me at rebeccalucyh. This is such a powerful thing to do, so I really hope that you have enjoyed it. I'll be back on Monday with an episode sharing 9 ways you can increase your confidence right now. Thanks so much for listening to The Confidence Show with me, Rebecca Hawkes. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love for you to hit subscribe and leave me a review telling me what you thought. Don't forget to connect with me on Instagram, where you'll find daily inspiration and tips to help you reduce your overwhelm, let go of self-doubt and create unbreakable self-confidence. Find me at rebeccalucyh and I'll see you in the next episode.